Hello everybody, my name's Graham Palmer, I work for Oracle. I work internally at Oracle, so I look after our global network and our policy and everything that happens on the cyber security front within our borders. But I also get out to many of our customers. I don't know if you know, there's 350,000 plus customers, so there's a huge base of information that I draw a lot of my knowledge and inspiration from. And so slightly differently from everyone else, I want to sort of take you through an idea of what I have to do each day, what our customers have to take into account and how they have to build their defences and get organised. And it's really not a trivial exercise. I started in this game in 1984 building encryption devices, and mainly for banks and some military establishments. And we used to sit down the pub and wonder if security would ever take off, because there only ever seemed to be about half a dozen of us doing it, and not many people seemed that interested in it, and not many people knew what a computer was in those days. So it has moved on, and it's lovely to see such an august institution as the European Parliament taking such a big interest in cyber security. It's a difficult thing to get your arms around. There's a lot that happens. I know there's some specialist companies in the room that have a huge amount of resources that they're constantly focusing on threats, trying to understand them, where they're coming from, how the exploits are being tweaked and manipulated, and how those attacks are evolving over time. There really is so much to look at, so much to try and deal with, that what you have to do is take a risk-based approach. I think it's Frederick II said, if you protect everything, you protect nothing. It's a lot to do with that adage. You have to be specific about what it is you want to protect. So, for example, if I'm operating in many countries, are there some countries that have more risk than others? If I'm doing particular types of services, does that have more risk than another type of service? We're constantly making those judgments. We have a large team of people that are looking at trends, looking at intelligence from our suppliers in the security industry, looking at what's going on real time. We have clouds analysing malware that quick, We're getting feeds from certs, as Matt was saying. We take advantage of those, and we're trying to tweak our defences real time to stop a particular attack gaining any momentum or gaining access to our perimeter. But at the same time, we do know that there are so many ways to subvert a notional perimeter. I mean, in the old days, a perimeter definitely existed. You had point-to-point circuits from different branch offices. That was a private circuit. It was sold to you by a telco, and you were pretty sure that not many people had the nous of how to tap into that or read what was coming across. And if you were particularly concerned, you put a line encryptor on it and manage your keys in a good way, and then no one would be reading your data, and you'd know that. We're not so sure about these things now, because the perimeters have dissolved. Well, they've constricted around individual elements, and that's why at Oracle we put a huge amount of effort into putting the protection as close to the data elements as we can. That means if someone does gain access, get through a perimeter, subvert a defence, start to work their way through our defence in depth, that we have a final bastion at the end, which is that the data is more protected than maybe normally it is. So that's a big approach that we take. But this risk-based approach is what drives all of that strategy. And to do that, you have to be very clear about scope. If you look at the leading standard in our industry for information security, ISO 27001, the key part of implementing ISO 27001 is defining your scope. You can't eat the elephant in one bite. At Oracle, we couldn't get ISO certification for the whole organisation, 118,000 people in 100 plus countries. It would be just too much of a monumental effort, because we acquire companies, things change, everything moves on a drumbeat, and what was relevant in the scope one week wouldn't be relevant the next week. So what we do is we take particular departments that have a specific need for running this, and we will get them certified. And the way we'll do that is we'll look back at our internal processes, which are all modelled on the ISO standard, and our policies are all derived from the ISO standard, so that is dead easy and it all fits in, and it just happens. And it's not a massive step change for any particular department to sort of suddenly become ISO certified. So the scoping is essential. If we try and do too much, we end up doing nothing very well. If we are clinical about what we are trying to protect, we can do a really good job of it. And that's a key message from us. So what I would ask is, if we're going to protect critical national infrastructure or critical infrastructure, please let's be really specific about what that is. Because if I'm trying to protect World of Warcraft, is that really the same as my banking system? You know what I mean? That's all I'm asking is, give me a break, because I've got to try and protect this stuff. I've got to put firewalls in, I've got to put anti-cyber exploit tools around the network, I've got to run packet captures. At Oracle, we generate 64 terabytes of log data a day. Now, I don't know if anyone can really visualise what that means, but 64 terabytes is a heck of a lot of pure ASCII code. I'm not talking about Word documents, I'm just talking about streams of ASCII. Now I have to create the machines, the tools, the software to mine all of this, to extract relevant parts, to look at what I need to be seeing, to try and see the wood for the trees, This is a monumental job, and if I know what I'm trying to protect, I'm at least halfway there. I could turn around and say, well, yeah, that's obviously an attack. It's obviously heading for our catering system, right? It's an issue. We're going to sort this out, but that's nowhere near as important as something that's going after our HR systems. So I need that kind of real-time ability to change direction, to make snap decisions that are accurate and based on factual. Yeah, and we spend a lot of time trying to get that right, and we also spend a lot of time dealing with other bits and pieces, and some of it is also about definitions. We need to be sure that what we're trying to do in Spain is what we're trying to do in Costa Rica, is what we're trying to do in Canada. Are we talking about the same things? Am I comparing oranges with oranges? Or am I not? And if I'm not, am I missing something? Because the devil is in the detail in all of this stuff, and if you're not quite looking for the right thing, you may well miss something critical. And it doesn't take... if you're unlucky and you miss something critical, that's when everything goes horribly wrong. So I'd also ask for clarity about what we're talking about here. When we define something and say this is what we have to do, please can we be sure that we all understand what X is? Now, if we don't get that right, then my meagre resources that I get frittered away on the wrong stuff, and I'm likely to just not be successful. And it's as simple as that. So while I understand that we need to have a kind of a one-size-fits-all solution here, I think that the key message from my perspective as someone who's nominally turned a practitioner or a network defender or an information security specialist or whatever, is that I have a finite number of resources. I need it all to be aimed and triggered by accuracy and by a scope that I can deal with, not by a massive panorama where there may be a sniper hiding somewhere, because I'm not going to find them. I think that's it from me. Enjoy the rest of your meal.